What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the Mattel Masters of Universe Origins crossover with the ThunderCats Wave 2. So in this wave we have He-Man, Panthro, and Tygra. So it's cool we get He-Man. So of course the only Masters character we got before was the Scowl. So now we have He-Man to go along with him. Again, looks pretty much just like He-Man, just has some different armor designs with cat inspired stuff. Then we get Panthro and Tygra. So it's going to be just like our last ThunderCats. They come with all this additional armor. It's supposed to be reminiscent of other Eternia characters and everything. But then of course we can just strip them down and have basic Panthro and Tygra, which is what I prefer out of them. But all three look really cool and I'm excited to check them out. So let me get them open out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. So starting off with He-Man, he's the most powerful man on 3rd Eternia, finding friends among the heroic ThunderCats. So He-Man looks pretty cool here. Of course, a different design for him, not a, exact repeat of past He-Mans or anything. Love that they give him a different hair design with the longer blonde hair. Of course, love that he's got the strands and stuff going to the back and the windswept sort of hair, sort of like a little ponytail there in the back as well. So it just makes a different look for He-Man. Of course, a more modern look to him as well. But then he has the ThunderCats inspired armor, so we get the big cat chest plate here on him, which looks pretty cool. So nice design with the nice green colored eyes that even teeth hanging down and stuff there. Fur up on his shoulders as well, so carrying in the MOTU sort of design with the fur. Bands that wrapped around his bicep, and of course the bands on his wrist as usual for He-Man. Same sort of belt design, so same sort of belt with the gold and the fur coming down. Another leather strap there around his thigh as well, so love that around the thigh and bicep and everything. And then the boots on his feet, which are a really dark brown, almost black color, but then have the fur sort of design. But overall, pretty basic for He-Man, but still looks good, sort of bringing in some of the design from cat-like stuff. But for movements, his head will twist around. Of course, with the hair, I guess it does still twist around. Say the hair may not allow it, but twist all the way around. Of course, kind of head popped off there. Look down that far, look up that far. So not the best range, unfortunately. Then the shoulders will come up towards 90 and rotate around. Get the single elbow joint that bends just about that far with rotation. Get the wrist that'll twist all the way around, and then flex, looks like a hinge up and down hand there. Twist all the way around at the waist. The hips will come up that far and out to the side. A little bit of a thigh twist there as well. Then the single knee joint back with some rotation in it. Shin twist at the top of the boots, and the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So decent movements overall, the standard for the MOTU Origin sort of design, so nothing surprising there at all for him, but just looks good for this He-Man design. Now, of course, comes with a number of accessories for him. So first we get what's labeled as a battle helmet, so a nice cat-like design for this helmet with nice spikes and teeth and everything. Now this just goes onto his head, so you can just somehow get it stuck on there. So maybe like that, which kind of looks goofy because it almost looks like, just the standard baseball hat with the bill coming out, but then has the teeth hanging off of it, so it's almost like it's just a weird hat design. So you get that, which is, I guess, kind of cool. We also get the nice fang shield, so we get the shield with the nice his fangs coming off of it. So we're gonna put this in his left hand, so we have that shield, which is kind of cool. I like that, makes an additional weapon, especially with those fangs on there. And then we also get the power sword, but it's now been modified, so it has the ThunderCats logo, so the Eye of Thunder and stuff there. So it looks pretty cool with that, and still nice design, very reminiscent of the power sword there. Of course, we get the slot in the back that we can store, so you can have it stored on his back there, but we'll obviously put it into his hand. So there's He-Man with the power sword, so that's pretty cool. Nice design, obviously not the best. I'm not crazy about the armor, especially the headpiece and stuff. I'll probably take that off the helmet there because I think that kind of ruins some of his look, makes him look a little too goofy there, but nice for He-Man. And of course, we've had other He-Mans, especially the MOTU Origins, basic one for He-Man there. So what he looked like originally until what he looks like now. So definitely, like I said, really like this design overall, but very similar to the ThunderCats, especially from the first wave, how you can kind of strip him down to make him look more classic. We can also do something similar with He-Man, so we get his original harness design, so we can put this on him. So there's more basic look for He-Man. Of course, it has this chest harness and underwear and stuff. All that looks same. We can obviously take all these bands and stuff to kind of basic them out as well, but it just kind of looks weird because obviously with his head design stuff, it kind of looks like he's got a really long neck and everything, so don't like that too much, but it doesn't look horrible and stuff. Just a nice upgraded basic He-Man design there, which looks pretty decent overall. So from the first video, for me, I kind of like the more stripped down version, so I'll probably just leave He-Man looking like this, but I do also like having that cat chest plate and stuff on it. Makes him look pretty cool. And next up we have Panthro, which is the Thunderian Battle Master. He stands by Lion-O's side, ready to defeat evil across the universe. So Panthro looks pretty cool here. I always liked him as a character, and then having him here with the additional armor piece. I'm not super crazy about it, but it's not horrible. It reminds me a lot of Man-at-Arms with the design. So we get this piece around his neck and chest here and stuff that looks very much like Man-at-Arms sort of armor design. We get the armor that goes here up on his arm, so up on his bicep and then forearm and stuff there. So we get this additional armor piece that'll have attachment attachments there that we can put on there for him to fight with, you know, kind of very man-at-armish there. And then the big armor piece here on his leg, again, very man-at-arms there. And then we get the basic sort of body design underneath. So we get, of course, like a belt with the skirting there. That's part of the Masters design. Nice spike bracelet there. Of course, his darker blue boots, nice little bands there at the top of him as well, with his more bluish gray sort of skin design stuff. Of course, the head there, Panthro bald head with the pointy cat-like ears and cat-like face and stuff, and spiked all over the armor there and everything. So it just looks pretty cool with this design. Like I said, I'm not too crazy about the man-at-arms sort of stuff. Adding that pieces on it and like the gold probably isn't helping, but still cool. He has the additional MOTU inspired stuff. But for him, it's going to be the same probably as He-Man, so head will twist all the way around, look down that far and up that far, just a little bit there, shoulders up that far, and rotate all the way around. Get this single elbow joint there that bends towards 90 with rotation, wrist twist around and flex back and forth, twist around at the waist, the hips come up that far and out to the side, tiny bit of thigh twist, the single knee joint back with rotation, of course hard behind the armor there. There'll be a shin twist at the top of the boot as well, it twists around, then the foot flex back and forth and twist side to side. So yeah, the same movements once again as usual with all the MOTU characters, so we'll see that once again today. But for accessories, first we get a mask, or yeah, sort of mask design we can put on there again in the nice gold, which I love. This overall design looks pretty cool, but don't know how cool it'll look once it's on his face. Doesn't look bad, yeah, definitely not the best, but it's not horrible. So again, just I guess sort of incorporating more of that man-at-arms design, I guess just with a mask design, not really sure there. Then we get some attachments for his big metal arms, so as you can kind of see there, if you get a bit, of course this is all falling down and sliding around stuff, we get a big like attachment sort of piece on there, and to attach on that we do get like a big axe here, so we can plug an axe on the end of it. So just like that, you can plug the axe in, or we get a big mace as well, so a big ball mace you can attach on that. So again, that's a nice big arm weapon he can use there. But of course, to make it more like the classic Panthro, we do also get his like normal nunchucks with the blue and red hand design there. So that's obviously what I'm gonna want to switch him out to. And then just like with the last wave of ThunderCats, you can, you know, strip all this off, make it more basic looking, and we also get the leggings for him as well. So let's go ahead and strip him down. So here he's all stripped down, and I actually had the leg things reversed. He already had the normal boots and stuff on there, so the normal ones. So these are to make it more of the MOTU, you know, with the fur design stuff. I don't know how I didn't notice that. And as you know, unfortunately with ours, we have the issue where it's supposed to have the ThunderCats logo here on the belt, but the paint just completely stripped off and like wiped away. It was like stuck to the inside of this belt piece and stuff, so not sure what's going on with that paint. The black paint was just all sticky and everything. I think we have some issues maybe with Tygra as well. So just, yeah, had a lot of issues with the paint. So unfortunately our ThunderCats logo is missing there. And I think I've seen that other people have that similar issue. So whatever sort of paint they used was not a very good one. But there it looks good for the basic version of Panthro there. Love the design, you know, pretty stripped down. Still designs, you know, with the spikes and stuff on him, but still looks like a stripped down nice version there of Panthro. Very classic look for him. And we'll go and put the nunchucks in his hand as well. So there's Panthro with his nunchucks, which is pretty cool. So overall nice design. This is more of the look and stuff I like for Panthro, so it looks pretty cool with that. Like I said, especially with the more stripped down version. It's nice they come with all the armor and everything, but like I said, I much more like just the stripped down designs. And that brings us to our last figure of Tygra, which is the Thunderian scientist. He discovers that Third Eternity is home to many wonders of good and evil. So nicely at Tygra, again, another character like with the tiger design. So we get his orange fur with the black stripes as well. So nice lighter, like yellowish color around his eyes, a little bit of fur there and around his mouth. Of course, get with his hands and stuff there. You see some of his tiger stripe designs there on his forearms. And then down to his feet, we get some of that lighter yellow color as well. And then, of course, get the armor on top of him. So it's more of a see-through. It said something about like special armor to help him go undetected more because he's tired, so he's stealthy and sneaky and all that stuff. So having this like see-through armor, I guess, helps make him more invisible would be my guess. But nice armor design overall, nice like chains imprinted on it, nice spikes and everything going around there. Get it on his thighs as well with chains going around it. So it just looks pretty cool with that design overall. I really like the armor design and stuff. Just wish it wasn't see-through so it'd stand out maybe a little bit more. But underneath we get pretty much just basic tiger design. I love how it has some like silver design in the middle, which is different from him. So that's one thing that's going to look different. But love like the sleeves there and almost like they're rolled up, so you then get to see some of his tiger fur and all that. Bands around his wrist, the normal like He-Man style belts with the gold belt around the waist with the fur loincloth, and of course that light blue sort of leg design come down as well into the furry feet. So there we get more of the boots that I thought Panthro had on, but then so with the fur design and all that, that we'll be able to switch out once again. But just looks good overall for Tygra. But moon-wise, the head twists all the way around, looks down that far and up that far, so just a little bit there. Shoulder shoulders will come up again towards 90 and rotate around. Single elbow joint. That's real stiff on him, but again, that far with rotation. Then with the wrist, that'll twist all around and flex back and forth. He'll twist around at the waist. The hips will come up that far and out to the side with a little bit of a twist. The single knee joint back with rotation. Shin twist at the top of the boot, and the foot flex back and forth and twist side to side. So yeah, all the movements once again, so same for all our characters today. But accessorized, the one thing that we get with Tygra is a mask as well to go along with this. So again, to make him sort of more invisible design, I guess you'd say there. So we get this mask that kind of with like the big head design and stuff reminds me more of a predator. So that's kind of cool. And love how it's got the fangs and stuff down the front. So you get that mask to put on as well. Again, kind of looks dorky and everything, but you know, just a part of that specialized armor he's got. You can also give him his weapon of the bolo whip. So nice design. So nice see-through like handle here in yellow with the string design until we get to the more stiffer part here, the plastic of the bolo whips there at the end. So the signature weapon for Tygra. And then of course it's always hard to figure out how to get him to like pose up with this because it's not easy to hold it, but you can kind of just get him to hold it like that, like he's gonna get ready to whip it or whatever. So that looks pretty decent overall. But as usual, we get the stuff to switch him out. So we get this armor plate here, or chest plate stuff to put on him. So switching more to his classic look, as well as the boot pieces. So again, to get rid of the fur and everything. So let's switch these all out. And there's a Tygra all stripped down, which looks pretty decent. Kind of weird with the design, especially like the gray and then the split in his outfit design. But of course, to get the like twist at the waist and stuff, it has to be like that. But it just kind of looks awkward there. But you know, not too bad. It does look like Tygra. Oh, I forgot to take the bands off his arms and stuff. So you can take those off as well if you want. But yeah, it looks pretty decent overall. You know, it does look like basic Tygra and everything. So nothing bad about that. But I do like this a little bit more compared to the one with the armor as usual. And once again, our paint is kind of like running and having issues stuff. So I don't know whatever they did with that black paint for the ThunderCats logo is kind of causing a lot of issues, it seems. Well, there's our MOTU ThunderCats Wave 2 figures where we got He-Man, Panthro, and Tygra. All three are pretty cool. Nice to get a He-Man. Like I said, not like super crazy about his design, but I do like the modern update with like different head design and stuff. I did go and put the armor back on because like I said, he did look too weird with like his chest harness and stuff because like the neck was showing way too much and stuff. So it looks much better when you have the fur there on his shoulders, helps sort of shorten up the neck and stuff. So that looks cool. And then of course, the stripped down versions of Panthro and Tygra are really cool. So nice to have them as well. And of course, now that we have them, we can bring them in with the rest of our ThunderCats. So there's Panthro and Tygra in with Lion-O, Chitara, and Battle Catman. So very cool to add them. Of course, you can kind of take Battle Catman out and just have the four. So it's nice, like I said, to have them with, especially they're more like stripped down versions without all the MOTU armor and stuff. But it's nice just to have more ThunderCat character designs to throw in here with our MOTU origins. So let me know what you thought of this wave down in the comments. And if you enjoyed my review, let me know what that like and hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.